I'm happiest in the saddle.
A fellow sportsman.
I am an FBI agent!
Great Scott!
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria!
Come with me if you want to live.
Hello, and welcome to Retro Ramble. I'm Charlie McGee.
I'm George McGee.
And this time we are traveling back to the 90s to review what I'm kind of starting to think is like a Matrix prequel. But we'll get into that because, George, we are reviewing which film?
1998's Dark City.
Dark City!
City.
Hang on, I am
Sadly starring David Bowie, but it feels like the kind of film that David Bowie would have enjoyed.
I feel like there's going to be the official Coulda Woulda Shoulda, and then there's going to be our own Coulda Woulda Shoulda. Because I was thinking that watching this film is like, oh, this needs Willem Dafoe here, and this needs Christopher Walken here. So I want the sequel to this film. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. George, we're going to play you guys a trailer to get you in the mood. Is there anything these guys need to know before they listen further?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit of a housekeeping intro sort of type thing. So if you haven't listened to Retro Ramble before, we are an independent film podcast. Charlie and I are brothers. And the purpose of this podcast is that we go back and we revisit the films that we grew up with. So we look into how they came to be, the production stories, the behind the scenes, trivia, gossip, that sort of type thing. We look at, do they still hold up? Have they been remade? Have they been spun off into some sort of streaming series? So it's a lighthearted look back at these films. It's like reacquainting yourself with an old friend. There might be, the odd bit of bad humor, bad impressions, childish humor, that sort of thing.
Bad language.
Bad language. Fruity language. Yeah.
But no bad
horseplay. A lot to dig into. But yes, I say it's a light-hearted look back at these films that we grew up with. And that's about it. We hope you enjoy.
Excellent. So we're going to get cracking. George is going to play us a little trailer, and then we will take a retro ramble on what we think about it and loads of trivia. So roll the trailer.
Where's our lucky winner?
Upstairs, sir. Room 614.
J. Murdoch.
You are confused, aren't you? Frightened. And what the hell is going on here?
Are you going to accuse me of something? Wait, you have the wrong man.
I didn't kill anyone.
Maybe murder.
Who's murder?
These are all lies! Why can't I remember anything? What have you done to me? You have lost your memory. There was an experiment. Something went wrong. Your memory was erased.
Want some answers? I want some answers now!
Everything you need to know. All the answers are in this syringe. I need you to inject yourself. It's the only way to make you understand. How do you know all this? You're not a murderer. And you're not crazy, John.
It seems you've discovered your unpleasant nature.
What do they want from me? First, there was darkness. Then came the strangers. The city, everyone in it. Is their experiment.
Why?
There's no escape.
The city's ours. We made it.
They steal people's memories, Then they swap them around between us. Once in a while, one of us wakes up.
Get out of my memory!
It's not supposed to happen, but it does.
You're not gonna believe what I have to say.
Wake up!
We're looking for John Murdoch.
Okay, so George, we are firmly in the 90s. We should probably bore our audience with the issues we had with the trailers, or should we?
No, I think it's important to say. So, yeah, the trailer that we originally picked, we always joke about where was that break in time where we had, the 80s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s had awesome gravelly voice trailer man, in a world.
I think we just found it.
But yeah, we always joke about there was at some point, I always sort of pinpointed it around, start of the millennium, but this is obviously 1998. So it's a little bit sooner that they start. And I think, but that, obviously we're going to talk about it as well. It's going to come up a lot in this episode, but The Matrix, I remember the Matrix trailer doesn't have gravity voiceover, man. That's again, all very quick edits and no dialogue and stuff like that. So, yes, there we have it.
So, yeah, it's very much a sign of the times. Do you, obviously I have copious DVD memories, but from a certain period, I had this on DVD. I watched it repeatedly on DVD. I couldn't tell you 100% if I saw this at the cinema.
We saw it together.
You see, I have an amazing memory for those great times that we spent together, George.
I think this was the sort of the start of when you and I started hanging out a bit more.
Yeah.
So I would have been 15, I think, at the time. So yeah, I think that was when you and I started going to the cinema a lot more, because it was like, oh, you're no longer annoying. We can hang out together now and go into the cinema and stuff. Yeah, I remember, sort of we went and saw, would you have been at uni then? Would you have been up in Edinburgh?
No, this would have been, or maybe I was.
Because I kind of have a feeling we might have seen it in Edinburgh when you were up in Edinburgh, because we used to do that a lot. When I would come up and visit you, we would just go to the cinema.
I don't know if you remember, but for the first 2 years I was there, as students, we got a discount on the go as much as you want for, I think it was 20 quid a month. And we saw, so there's basically a period of my life, between 1998 and 2000, where I saw everything that could be seen. Because when you go to the cinema, you can go whenever you like, and you've got that sort of free time as a student, and you don't want to spend much money. You're like, let's go watch a film. So we ended up watching everything, and this very much falls into that era.
Yeah, I say we definitely saw it together, and I kind of think we might have seen it when you were in Edinburgh.
Okay. Well, that's first memories. Well, at least you've got memory of it. Yeah. But I do remember also having.
Are they my memories?
I don't know if maybe they were.
Have they been implanted? I don't know if I'm Kiefer Sutherland or am I Richard O'Brien. I just don't know.
I don't know. I'm whispering so loudly it makes whispering pointless. But I'm Kiefer Sutherland, so what are you going to do? I think. The whole memory. I mean, where did we start with this film? So we've talked about memories. Somebody stole my memories of the first outing of this film. I do remember watching it a lot on DVD. But do you? I mean, I don't know if you have clearer thoughts on first memories, or do you want to?
I remember you and I were big fans of this. I remember we were very, very impressed by it. In terms of it is right up our street in terms of dark sci-fi philosophical ideas, the whole brain in a jar, or the cave allegory, and
bit of Plato, a bit of Thomas Aquinas.
Thomas Aquinas. So it's a bit of everything, and I think we really enjoyed it. And then it probably kind of did. I don't think it did the numbers. We'll get into it towards the end, but I don't think it was marketed very well. And obviously it was overshadowed. There's a lot of similar ideas with The Matrix. And I think The Matrix came out the following year, and this film kind of got forgotten about. It was a cult hit. I think obviously The Crow, this is Alex Proyas, the same director as The Crow. And The Crow became kind of infamous because of the Brandon Lee tragedy. But I think this kind of got lost in the mix a little bit, but it has got its fans. There's a really diehard fan base for it. It is definitely a cult hit. I would argue, I think it's Alex Proyas's best film. I'd say it's a better film than The Crow.
It's like, It takes the stuff from the Crow and uses and improves upon them.
Yeah, and obviously we've covered The Crow previously, and we talked about how because of the Brandon Lee on-set tragedy, there was a lot of stuff they had to work around and retrofit the script and sequences around the footage they had, and using, you know, stunt doubles and things like that. So whereas, yeah, this is there was no on-set tragedies. There was some a little bit of behind the scenes meddling and drama, but yeah, we'll get into that. Shall we hop on the tram?
I was just trying to think of like what would the Dark City mode of transportation be to production memories of production stories, production memos.
Why don't you and I jump in the syringe and we'll be implanted into someone's subconscious? So yeah, so we've talked about The Crow. So yeah, Alex Proyas, he's an Australian director, and you know, as of, you know, a lot of these directors, I don't think he shot to fame doing commercials. I think he did do some commercials, but he also did music videos. So yeah, The Crow was, I think, his first major feature. We've covered that previously. But he began writing the idea for this script, Dark City, before The Crow. And he got some more ideas whilst they were filming The Crow, when they were like, because obviously The Crow used a lot of sets and you know, it was all built sound stages, so cities on sets. Whilst they were moving buildings around on the set of The Crow, he started getting inspired, like, moving buildings, and that's an interesting visual. So he had a sort of a rough idea of what it could be, and obviously after The Crow, there was a lot of interest of what his next project was going to be. So he worked up this script. Very little of what actually makes it into the final product, because he had his original idea was from the point of view of a detective, of the William Hurt character, and it was a detective that's trying to solve this case, but the pieces of the case keep changing and the facts keep moving around, and he's going slightly insane trying to work out why can't he get to the truth? Why is everything always shifting? I would like
to pull on that thread a little bit if I could, because I did not know that. Obviously, this is what these podcasts are. It's great always to hear what George's find out about these films. But yeah, for me, that I was, after watching the film, I was like, this should be. Is it William Hurt? Sorry. This should be his story. I was like, the thing is, they give them, I could be wrong, but I feels like they give them equal time, you know, both Rufus
Sewell.
Rufus Sewell. Joe. Just The Man in the High Castle for me was one of his best performances. But putting those two together, but I feel like they have equal screen time.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't know what the hell is going on, and William Hurt thinks he knows what's going on, but his reality is falling apart just as quickly as the other guy is trying to make sense of everything.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I own this on DVD. I've owned this on DVD for a while. I haven't watched it in a few years, probably 2 or 3 years. This time around, I watched the director's cut unknowingly. I bought it on streaming. And I was quite glad, because the general fandom says the director's cut is superior. And I think in it, the director's cut gives a little bit more background to a lot of the characters, but William Hurt gets more screen time. And yeah, I forgot how good everyone is in this, and he's brilliant. And obviously, we lost William Hurt a couple of years ago now. But yeah, he's a fantastic actor, and this is, he's really good at not doing very much. That shows his strength as an actor, even just by not saying anything or just delivering sort of minimal dialogue. He's very captivating and effective.
Okay, and you just reminded me, and it's a beautiful tangent, because it reminds me of what we discussed in our Days of Thunder episode about Robert Duvall, about how it's what he does when he's not speaking.
Yeah, that's where we talked about it last. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like that is like super level. And I wanted to mention that because obviously in memoriam, we're very sad at the time of recording for the passing of such a legend, Robert Duvall, which was just this week.
Yes, yeah, no, it's really sad news. But I mean, 95, he had very good innings, and he's had some legendary performances. But yes, what an actor, and yeah, he will be missed.
Thank you, and Godspeed.
But yeah, William Hurt, fantastic in this, and it would have been interesting to see it from his perspective. But I suppose it opens up by having that whole amnesia thing of you wake up in a room, you have no idea who you are, and you're suddenly wanted for murder, and you don't have any memory of doing it. I think that's an interesting hook as well, and you can see why they've focused on that in terms of the unraveling. Well, what am I a murderer? You know, what is going on? I don't feel like a murderer.
But it is interesting that we talk about the volcano, the meteorite, that Hollywooditis thing, where it's not uncommon that the same an idea percolates into all of Hollywood. And I feel like if you look at this film, guy wakes up, doesn't know what's going on, questions reality, has powers to alter reality. And then a year later, we have The Matrix. Now, obviously, Matrix was happening way before Dark City became public. So it's clear these two ideas have just grown at the same time in the same place.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the Matrix quite openly wears its manga sort of influences quite openly, and yet again with this, whilst Alex Proyas talks about the film having a more of a film noir influence, like films like Maltese Falcon, but there's also the classic sci-fi, which I as a cinephile, I admit, I'm shameful to admit that I haven't seen, but Metropolis, Fritz Lang's Metropolis, which is a huge inspiration on a lot of films, including Batman, Blade Runner, etc. But yeah, another influence that Alex Proyas touched on for this is Akira.
Absolutely.
So yes, I think that I think it's, as you say, I think it's just a happy coincidence. There's a lot of similar ideas in both films. And I saw an interview with Alex Proyas where someone sort of asked him about it, and he was like, well, you know, maybe Dark City might have fared a bit better if I put Kung Fu in it. Maybe that's, that's the difference of success. But I think he's just very much it is what it is sort of type thing. But yeah, so they reworked, they brought on another scriptwriter, a British scriptwriter called Lem Dobbs. He was hired to flesh out the story as you see it in the film. But then when they finally got proper studio backing, they were like, oh, we've actually got some extra budget could we look at maybe putting some more action sequences into it? So at the time, I don't know how he came across him, but I think it was David S. Goyer. So David S. Goyer is quite a famous scriptwriter now. He had done at the time, he'd written the Crow sequel, I think it's City of Angels. So I think that's how Alex Proyas, even though Alex Proyas didn't direct City of Angels, he came into contact with him. And at that time, he had written, but it hadn't been released yet, was the film Blade. So Proyas got his hands on the script for Blade and was like, yes, this is the guy I want to give it an action polish. So David S. Goyer did the final sort of script revisions, added in the sequences with John Murdoch fighting the strangers throughout the film and how those action sequences could work. So, and how the sort of operating of Dark City came to be, because I think it was very much a mystery in the sort of initial scripts.
I mean, Flat Earthers are going to love this film. No, but I mean, it's a classic. It's like, it obviously, you can fill in the years after I finish my comment, but it's like, we had the Jim Carrey film. Sorry, what was it called? It was
Truman Show.
Yeah,
same year.
Yeah, so I mean, at this time, it's like, what if this is all a simulation? And then we get to the Matrix. I feel like Truman Show. You're saying the same thing. We have Truman Show and Dark City, and then we have Matrix. It's like blockbuster. Yes, it's a great idea. It's trending. It's culting. Here's the blockbuster.
Yeah, no, that's. I think I saw someone say that on social media. Sort of like we had a couple of years, 98, 99. As you say, you had this. You had Truman Show. There was Ed TV. There was The Matrix. There was another film that I think you and I need to see that's always mentioned in the same sentence as these films. It's a film that I think just got a video release, but it's called The 13th Floor. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's about similar themes of, is this a simulation? Is this, and there was also that weird film Existence.
I was just gonna mention that. Did we ever end up watching that? Because I'm not sure. I'm like, you're going to tell me.
I've seen it.
Watched it.
I've seen it, but I don't know if we watched it together. But it's a very weird film. I was actually thinking, should I revisit that film?
I think I can't remember this film, and like I remember I missed it when it came out of the cinema, and it was at the time when you saw stuff at the cinema or you saw it on DVD. So
yeah, Existence is 99 as well, and I think when that came out, it was very much it came out. Came out a month before The Matrix. So again, it's just like,
and another year, I would be up for doing that. And if any of our Patreons are listening, let us know on the commentary on Patreon if you want us to do that. Because there we go. I think it was it in the list. We have a list.
Existence isn't on the list. Truman Show is. Okay. And maybe we can add The 13th Floor to one of our revelations for Patreon. Because I have that film does come up a lot when these two films are mentioned. Revelations
is where the films that somehow, I mean, we've talked about a few of them already on this episode, the films that somehow passed us by because we had limited access to video rental. Streaming wasn't a thing. Some people had Sky. But anyway, I digress. So what else do you want to say about Dark City?
I mean, I suppose we can pretty much just go into overall thoughts, but there's the one thing on casting. Obviously, later on, I'll talk about Coulda Woulda Shoulda, but apparently it was a deliberate choice to go for a fairly unknown lead because the whole point was that they wanted audiences to not really be comfortable with, that it's that actor, so I know he's a good guy or whatever. So it wanted to build that little bit of uncertainty. And so that's apparently why Alex Proyas knew of Rufus Sewell's back catalogue, and Rufus Sewell had done a bit of, obviously, he's a British actor. He's been in quite a few things. He never he's a big thesp. He's done a lot of like British stuff, British TV and film. He plays the bad guy a lot. I think at one point he might have. It's funny, at the moment I've just finished reading a book about all the people that were almost James Bond, and I think his name was in the mix at some point, probably around the Brosnan time. So yeah, he was a fairly unknown to most wider audiences outside of the UK at the time.
And you got to think about where he is now because he's in that show, The Diplomat, on Netflix, and he's like second or third billing, so he's still getting the role.
Yeah, as I say, he never really
he never went away. Yeah.
I mean, he was I think he's the villain in A Knight's Tale. He was in. Is he in some sort of? He's always the bad ex-boyfriend in a few rom-coms or something, or the guy that you don't want her to be with, sort of type thing.
Yeah.
I know, as you say, but he's always been working. As you said, he did Brilliant Turn. Is it Obergruber? What's his face?
Obergrubenstrasse. No, he's just like
in The Man in the High Castle, Amazon's Philip K. Dick show.
He is that show. And that's why when you come back in the second season, like it just because I don't think they did a third season.
I only saw the first season.
I went back. I went back for more, and it just fell apart like wet bits of cake. So yeah, that was a shame. But great, he's great in this. And when you said that thing before about it was deliberate to have an unknown, I feel like Christopher Nolan did the same thing with Guy Pearce and Memento, because I think Guy Pearce was quite unknown at the time, and that was.
I mean, if you hadn't watched Neighbours, yeah.
What are you doing with your life?
That's Mike from Neighbours. He couldn't have killed anyone. The Matrix is a landmark film for CGI. Obviously, the 90s had some, was a very interesting time. People were trying to use CGI, some using it well, others not so much. But Proyas wanted to keep it as he wanted a tactile, sort of gritty feel to the film. So he tried to minimize the amount of CG where possible. So, I mean, it's kind of fairly obvious, but there's a lot of miniatures in this film.
There's matte paintings, there's miniatures. And I also feel like that comment about CGI is like, when there's a CGI bit, it's like, oh, it's a CGI bit. It's like, it's not woven in at all.
Yeah, there's some bits where they're moving, like you're seeing the houses morph and stuff. Some of it works quite well. There's some stuff towards the end in the big battle that is a bit jarring. But on the whole, I think there's some fantastic special effects in this. And, in terms of, the folding city, that was hydraulic sets and some digital manipulation. And I think, on the whole, the city stuff works well. I think it's just more of the morphing and some of his physical, telekinesis effects are a little bit, and the alien, what's inside the Strangers is very sort of late 90s poor CGI as well.
But I mean, it's an interesting cast. It's how they got them working together. Have we talked enough about Kiefer Sutherland's portrayal in this?
We have not talked about Kiefer Sutherland's breathy. I mean, I'd say it's a bit of a against type for Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, was he doing 24 at this point, or this might have been just before 24?
I feel like he's been doing 24 forever, at least the last 30 years.
But 24 was a big 90s DVD, late 90s DVD thing. I remember
Games Room. That's what I remember.
Games, yeah. So that was a bit. I reckon, first 24 was around 98, 99. But Kiefer Sutherland is very sort of creepy, slimy. He's great. I mean, I think, as I say, that all the cast in this are great. The lovely Jennifer Connelly. It's the role she's given. She hasn't got a lot to do, but I think what she's given is good. We have the amazing, always creepy Richard O'Brien, and it's probably unsurprising that the role was written with him in mind. Yeah,
perfect for it,
And then
did we haven't said it on the podcast, but we always question he was great in that film. Why doesn't he do more stuff?
Yeah.
Did
absolutely.
he do a lot of British TV? Did he do other stuff than the Crystal Maze or?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to think. I don't think he did do much more. I'll pull up his IMDb. But Ian Richardson, who's the head of the Strangers, Mr. Book, obviously he's a classic, again, British actor.
He's been in everything. He's been
I think he was in the original House of Cards and stuff like that.
Big in the 90s.
Big in the 90s. Let's have a look. Mr. Richard O'Brien. Yeah, no, he basically didn't really do very much, bless him. He's done some, looks like he's done a fair bit of voice animated stuff. But yeah, he was in Spice World. But yeah, he hasn't, bless him. He's a great character actor, but yes, it's a shame he hasn't really done much.
And also, he's like, it's the Bond thing. It's like he'll never be known for anything other than the Crystal Maze, and he's proud of that. He was that show.
Well, to us, he's probably best known for that. But for most audiences, most global audiences, it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's the big thing for him. And yeah, we've talked about obviously the late great.
Speaking of people who were in the roles, is it time to speak about the people who almost were considered but didn't get them? You can just say no. Just say no if you don't.
Not yet. there's a few more to get through. So the one thing I forgot about how I haven't seen this film for maybe 2 or 3 years, and I forgot how much I enjoy this film. It's an amazing production design, and it's I had to look this up. It's a French guy, Patrick Tatopoulos, who has done a few retro ramble films. So Stargate, he's basically done a lot of work with Roland Emmerich. So Stargate, Independence Day. He's also worked with what's called Len Wiseman, who did the Underworld movies, and then he's gone on to do a lot of work with Zack Snyder. So he did a lot of Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. But yeah, I just love the production design in this. And yes, it is very Batman-y, but I think that's the Metropolis influences. Apparently, there's a lot of German expressionism influences. Despite being a film student, I don't really know much about German expressionism, but for some reason, because of Batman and this, I think I'd be a fan of it. But I love the way everything's designed. I love the 1930s, the fact everyone's wearing hats. I just think it's really I love the costumes, the way everything does feel tactile. It doesn't feel, in an age of when I was watching that Netflix film with Tom Hardy recently, Havoc, which was filmed in Wales, but they've made it this nondescript American city. And every time it's a city shot, it looks like a PlayStation game. It just looks so unrealistic. It's clearly a computer generation. But with this, even though I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, that's a really amazing set. I just was wowed at the production design in it.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting in Havoc's great. And the fighting in, obviously, this doesn't have the fighting that The Matrix has. But I, too, thoroughly enjoyed going back to this. I should watch this more recently. This is a great standalone film. We did talk about, it was, I don't know if I said at the top of the episode, when I finished this film, I was thinking about, sequels. I was thinking, of all of the 90s actors that were around at the time, what could have been done with this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose we're getting ahead, but that's one of the things I've put in my notes is that, at the end, how do you follow on from this? Now the strangers are gone. Who's powering the city? Is
a lot of questions.
Is John going to become this omnipotent being? Is he going to become a good god? Is he going to become a bad god? It's sort of is he
9 more films. I want 9 more films about this.
Is it going to be sort of the I'm bored of you now, wife. I want to create my new wife, my new reality.
Who knows? It's Rufus Sewell. He's an evil fucker.
I don't like Shell Beach anymore. Get rid of it.
Get rid of it, yeah. And then it just becomes, he's just like an overlord. We will never know.
Yeah, so I think there's some great stuff in this. I think, the end battle is a little bit bonkers. It's a little bit destruction of Krypton. People sort of crumbling sets and people floating. There's some dodgy VFX in it.
Yeah, but it's at the end where it does start.
But it's I applaud its vision. It's an ambitious. I do like its ambition on it.
I just think when I was watching, I was like, obviously you can't remember everything about what was going on in the film's production when you watched, but I was like, is this film connected to The Matrix? Because it does feel like somebody watched this and then an investor came along and said, I love what you've done with Dark City. Here's a ton of money, make a blockbuster. And then they went on to do The Matrix. Are there any connections?
Yes, there is a connection. So
I'm not insane.
Obviously, Alex Proyas is Australian, and this was filmed on the Fox lot in Australia. And once the production was finished, there was all the leftover sets, and The Matrix was also filmed on the Fox lot in Sydney. And they were like, "Oh, we were going to build some city sets and some rooftops. We've got a rooftop scene. Can we buy these? Can we purchase these sets?" So they've reused some of the rooftops from Dark City are in The Matrix for that bit when Trinity's running over the rooftops.
Yeah, but that's I think
some of the corridors as well, maybe.
And that's why our brains make the link and go, "It's there, same image." So but I feel like that's why this film maybe didn't do as well as we've already discussed. But it's definitely a film that could be expanded upon.
Well, it was, effectively, we'll get into it now. So the studio meddling. So New Line Cinema, I think it was originally planned to be released in late 1997. But for some reason, even though it's a completely different audience, Alex Proyas states that New Line pushed it back because of Titanic. Titanic had been delayed, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, we don't want to release it around this. This film's supposed to gonna be big, so we're gonna try and avoid it." And Titanic kept being pushed back. So in the end, they released it, I think, in early 1998. So I think it had about a good 5-6 months delay. But the problem was it didn't test very well, and the studio just didn't know how to market it. So some of the test screenings, people were a little bit confused by what was going on. So the studio were like, "Oh, you've got to have an opening narration with Kiefer Sutherland explaining what's going on." So, the opening narration in the original cut, the theatrical cut, Kiefer Sutherland's like, "The strangers, they came from outer space. They're controlling the city. This is the story," sort of type thing. And it kind of does dissolve a lot of that initial mystery. And apparently there was even some dispute over the actual title. So there was originally, it was always called Dark City, but then there was a film released beforehand in 1997 called Mad City with Dustin Hoffman and John Travolta. And the studio concerned that people might get confused with that. So then they suggested, why change it to Dark World? And then, but that was the same summer at the time in 1997 that Jurassic Park, The Lost World was coming out. So Spielberg was like, "No, you can't do that."
Yeah.
And what about Dark Empire? And then apparently George Lucas caught wind and was like, "No, you can't use that either."
Wow.
So they eventually, I think after Mad City flopped at the box office, they were like, just go back to Dark City.
Yeah. John Travolta flopped? No.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought? So yes, there is a director's cut. That is the one that I bought on streaming unknowingly. It has 11 minutes extra footage. It gets rid of the clunky narration at the start. It's a bit of a slower edit, so it's less sort of flashy. There's also some color correction because I think the studio thought it was too. Ironically, the film looked too dark. But whilst it didn't make much of a hit at the box office, Roger Ebert named it as his favorite film of 1998, and he loved it so much he even recorded a special audio commentary for the DVD release of the film. So he was a big fan.
Big fan. I should track that down.
Dark City was a reminder for me of the promise of the cinema. Movies don't have to be just photographed plays, all made up out of dialogue. They can also allow us to see new things in new ways. It's hard to make a movie like this, but Proyas has done it, and Dark City is one of the year's best films. This is the direction Batman ought to be moving in.
Well,
frankly.
sure. Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's a dead series. You're right. Give him the next one.
There's an idea. Give Alex Proyas the next Batman movie and save the series.
So now, Charlie, we have got to Coulda Woulda Shoulda.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
So, for the uninitiated, Coulda Woulda Shoulda, the actors who coulda, woulda, maybe shoulda got the roles, but didn't for whatever reason. So, who have we got this time, George?
Well, this trivia point I've read conflicts with what we talked about earlier about casting an unknown, but apparently Proyas has said that while shooting The Crow, him and Brandon Lee talked about future projects, and they totally, they were in unison that they wanted to keep working together on future projects. So everyone's taken that assumption, oh, well, if, he hadn't been tragically killed, would he have been the lead in this? It's a big assumption. But yeah, I say if in terms of him wanting to cast an unknown, I don't think that really works. For Dr. Schreiber, Sutherland's twitchy, creepy little guy, William Hurt was originally offered that role before he was cast as Inspector Bumstead.
My bum's not dead.
A great name. And apparently another person, I can see this, another person that was considered for Dr. Schreiber was Ben Kingsley. Oh, sorry, Sir Ben Kingsley.
That would have been a good pick. But I mean, come on, let's be real. Kiefer does a good job.
But this, I've got another tidbit that when Kiefer Sutherland said when he received the script, he couldn't understand why it had been sent to him, and he thought it maybe it had been sent to him mistakenly and should have been sent to his dad.
Oh, right.
Donald Sutherland would have been very good
to be
as well.
the crazy scientist.
Yeah,
100%.
Because if you think about it, obviously he's more of a leading man, good guy. So obviously he's done some villainous turns. But yeah, I think it's a great turn from Sutherland in this. Just sort of wrap things up. I think, it has been overshadowed by The Matrix. I would recommend if people have listened to this episode and haven't seen Dark City, do seek it out, because it's a really interesting film that you just don't really see much of these days.
100%. Yeah. And each time I go back to this, I enjoy it.
And it also makes me sort of lament that it's a real shame that Alex Proyas didn't really have much of a career. I mean, the three big films of his career were this, The Crow, and then the biggest one he did after this was iRobot, which, again, you and I have talked about.
I think when you said before this is his best, it's tough for me because I do like the story of iRobot a lot.
I like the look and feel of iRobot. But I just feel obviously you and I have read the Asimov stories, and there's a lot of great stories that they don't use. They just turn it into a bit of a generic, whodunit sci-fi thriller. But yeah, sadly, he hasn't really done a great deal since then. He did a film called Gods of Egypt, which is supposed to be...
I got that on 4K. It was one of those 4K deals, and I haven't watched it yet. So I think I got...
It's got Gerard Butler in it.
No, I got
he also did another one I haven't seen, and I think, is it Philip K. Dick, is Knowing by...
That's Philip K. Dick with Nick Cage.
I'm getting confused. There's definitely there's another one with Nick Cage around the same time that's based on a Philip K. Dick. I don't know if it might not be Knowing. It might be something else. No, it's a different Nick Cage film. I can't remember which one it is, but it's around the same time where he can...
We'll let you know.
Predict the future. I want to say
That's Knowing.
No, it's Knowing. What's the one I'm thinking of? No, it's something...
Oh, you're not thinking of the one with Ben Affleck? Paycheck.
No, it's definitely got Nick Cage in. I'll get back to you.
Okay. What else can we say about this film?
I don't think there's much else to say. I would recommend seeing the director's cut.
Okay.
Did you watch the director's cut? Did it have a
No,
narration
but
at the start?
you and I chatted about this before I watched it, so I skipped ahead the narration, and I just went to the bit straight to the film because I didn't want to be reminded. It's been a while. I have not watched this film in 10 years. I haven't got on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. I know you were saying you watched it a lot, but obviously I watched this a lot when I was younger, and then I haven't really watched it in about 10 years.
Next. He's got similar hair. It's 2 years before. But yes, a Las Vegas magician who can see into the future. Again, it's the same thing.
Wow.
It's the same movie.
Just sounds like Knowing.
Sorry, I haven't seen either of them because that's kind of
neither
bad Nick Cage. Well, there's a lot of bad Nick Cage.
National treasure.
But yes, I'm glad we finally covered it. I think this film has been on our list for a while. But yes, anything else from you, Charlie?
No, nothing else to say. We probably say this a lot, but this is one of those films. It's the reason why we do Retro Ramble. Because when else are you going to watch this film? We watch this film, we get together, we go over
it. This film feels like always a recommendation to people like, oh, you haven't seen Dark City? You must watch Dark City.
Yeah, it's nicely compartmentalized. Big fan of this film. Lovely to go back to it. I'm glad we covered it.
Oh, so, no, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I love how it's got that lovely sort of happy ending. It's got like lovely sort of soft music. They're on Shell Beach. There's like the promise of like them starting their lives again, falling in love. And then the credits come up and it goes into the dramatic dun 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 dun. I was like, Jesus Christ, that's a hard edit.
That's a mood killer. Yeah. 90s, whatever. Just do it really quickly. Yeah,
good score though. Good score.
Yeah. No, really good to go back to that. Okay.
So coming up next on Retro Ramble, we are potentially going to focus on, he's a big star, it's Sylvester Stallone, but we're unsure which mid-90s Sylvester Stallone are we going to cover. So we will put that up to a vote. So
90s Stallone.
Mid-90s Stallone, when his career, he's had the hits, he's had Cliffhanger, he's had Demolition Man, but then it gets a little bit wobbly, sort of 95, 96. So there's some good 94, 95. So there's Judge Dredd, there's The Specialist, there's Athens. So yes, we will put that up to a vote. So look out on our socials, on Instagram, on Facebook. We'll put it on our Patreon as well. There's a lot of stuff we put on Patreon that you don't have to be a subscriber, so I might put up the odd article and things like that. So feel free to check out patreon.com/retro ramble. And obviously, there is the option to subscribe for the price of a coffee. You can get extra Retro Ramble in your life. There's lots of episodes
and there's tons
to wade through.
Because we've been doing Patreon for a few years now. We're talking multiple episodes. So check it out. Okay, wonderful. Well, for this episode, I've been Charlie McGee.
I've been George McGee.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sleep now.